Hi, today I want to talk to you as parents about the idea that maybe you don't know everything that's going on in the world of college admissions. So, before I offend anyone, let me explain what I mean by that. I was recently at a parent program, and it is the time of year when a lot of admissions decisions are being released. So, students are finding out good news, bad news, holding pattern news, depending on what the results are. And there are oftentimes statements like this that come up during this phase of the process. Things like, well, I know that somebody from our high school got admitted with lower test scores and a lower GPA, and I just don't understand how that could possibly happen. Well, first of all, I'm going to push back a minute and say, you don't know for sure that everything was lower or not. You don't know for sure what the student's curriculum has been like. You don't know what is written in teacher and counselor recommendations. And you don't know what that student's essay was written about. Now, I'll pause here and say there are some times when a family will say to me, well, I do because they let us read those things, or they are in all of the same classes as my son or daughter. So sure, there is some anecdotal evidence that perhaps things are what you're describing. But what we also can't factor in with that information is what major was or is or did the student apply for. That can have an impact on the decision and make two seemingly very different students have different outcomes because it is less competitive to get into certain majors. And if you've been following along, or if you want to go back, you can listen to other recordings that I've done about that very topic. The other thing that most of us will never know is what is the student's family's connection to the institution? What kind of hook does that particular student have? Is it a time when they have a special talent that the college is looking for and is trying to grow, and so that put them at an advantage? It certainly happens with some obvious things like athletics and the arts at times for performance-based audition type majors. However, there could be other factors that are out there in the student's file that you're just simply not privy to. And the whole reason I'm even bringing this up is simply because I think it's another example of how the messaging that students hear in this process can be so detrimental. It's unintentional. You're, as a parent or trusted adult, taking their side, so to speak. You're outraged with them and for them, but it isn't helping move the process forward in a healthy way. And I think the best advice I have, parent to parent, from a counseling perspective also, is we have to be really careful about the words that we say and how we behave when students are getting their decisions back, because our reactions can be taken by them to be, well, our actions, if they are not positive, can be taken by the student to feel, make them feel dejected, or even worse, because they are feeling like they've let us down as the adults in their lives. And we really want to be careful about that because, again, there's already so much on their plates at this age and stage, and we don't want to add to it by how we react in this process. Parents also at this time of year often want to know, what else can we do? What could be done? And oftentimes there really is nothing else to be done. I just did a recording a week ago about mid-year grades. That is a part of the process for some schools, and if students are doing well, which we hope that they are, those mid-year grades might be a positive contributing factor to getting from a deferral to a positive decision down the road. But it's not the time to suddenly try to pull out all of the stops and go full bore on trying to pressure the colleges and universities into turning a no into a yes. But certainly people do it. There are certain colleges and universities that actually have a formal appeal process if a student has been denied. So there are times when there are methods that could work. But again, I just want to caution more so about the message that the students hear when it feels like this was such a bad answer or such bad news, and having them then feel like it's a disappointment to you, the parent or the adult in their life. So just some food for thought. And also just keep in mind, even when you think you know all of the details of somebody else's application, you really don't. Honestly, even if you read another student's essay, it doesn't necessarily mean that your impression of that essay is the same impression that the college has. So even that factor, I would say, is not a factor really in this process when you're thinking about how students align in terms of their strengths and weaknesses. So hang in there. I know it can be a stressful time of year as the decisions come out, but hopefully there's more positive news than not. And we wish you all the best. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please reach out.